Hello again, thanks for joining. So today I've got a Roco model. It's in OHU scale. Well, it's actually two models. It's two hopper wagons in one box. This is number 44190 in the Roco range. And recently I've been doing a few different hopper wagons, and I actually got some OHU liveried wagons from another manufacturer called Fala, which was part of their kind of, for want of a better word, I would say play set, which had operational doors so you could fill it full of gravel, and a line side accessory would trigger it and it would dump the load out onto the track. But anyway, these are from Roco, so they should be more serious and better quality. So let's get these open and we'll check them out. So that was actually quite difficult to get those out without breaking them. Thankfully I managed to get there eventually, and we also have a leaflet here which is specific for this model. I think it's just talking about how you can change the couplings and the NEM pockets, how to oil the wheels, and I think it's got some different options that you can get up here. Well, obviously couplings and maybe spare parts like buffers, so perhaps they're prone to breaking off. And here are other models, definitely more serious than the Fala ones. They've got a lot more detail on them, and they come with a load as well. I think it's some kind of gravel that's been fitted in there. Anyway, let's take a closer look at these. So both these hoppers are identical aside from the running number. So this one down here, it shows 6994018-1. The other one is a different number to that. What's really cool about these is that they're very bright and colourful, and they make for an interesting and eye-catching wagon to have on your layout. There's a lot of really fine detail here. It's mostly made of plastic, and I think it's probably quite fragile. So the main hopper area obviously is finished in this yellow colour, but this is actually masked off from the blue, and you can see down here there's a little bit of fuzziness going on between the two, so it hasn't been masked off just absolutely perfectly. But the printing is really good. The OHU is really nice and crisp. And all the writing down here is very nice as well. We've got some on the chassis which is really small, but it's very clear, which is cool. We've also got quite an arrangement of little levers here for the discharge. There's no actual operation on this wagon, but these parts here do actually move a little bit. I'm not sure why they do that. It might just be a little bit of a gimmick or something. But you can see how fine those pieces of plastic are. So you're going to have to be really careful handling this model, and also the railings as well are very thin too. So, you know, there's a great opportunity to break this model very easily. I do like the grain effect on the planking here on this little platform, and we have these steps coming down as well, which have even got little grooves on them too. And these look to be extra pieces that have been pushed into the chassis. I did actually notice on the instruction sheet that you could get replacements for these, which was a pretty good idea. So the coupling is in an M pocket, and it is cantilevered on this usual arrangement. It's quite a neat one. It's pivoting around underneath the axle for the bogie. The bogies look really good. It's quite an old designer bogie, this one, and there's not a lot of features on it, but the spring detail is quite fine and also picked out. I like the wheels too, and they revolve really well in this dulled metal colour. The bogies seem to be a push fit into the chassis. Underneath we've got some details of the discharge chutes and also the framework as well, which looks really good. And on the other side of the wagon, there's not so much of a platform. There's still some wood effect here and a ladder in blue going up to the top. That's an extra piece that's been added on. And we have some brake gear here as well, which is an extra piece added in too. Up on top on these we have this simulated gravel load. I don't think this looks that good. It does look a bit plasticky, and around the edges it's not really that convincing. It would certainly benefit from having proper gravel being put into this model if you wanted to improve it, or even just adding some depth onto this with some paint would improve it massively. So it is a really nice looking wagon, and obviously lots of opportunity to break parts off this, but the finish is really good. I think this is probably up to the standard of modern day wagons, even though this I think was made in around about the 1990s or maybe the early 2000s. So it's at least 20 years old, but still fares pretty good to my mind. So I'm interested to find out how much this weighs, so let's put this one on the scales. So this model comes in at 57 grams. Well, these two hopper wagons from Roco, there's not really much to fault on them. I would say they're let down a little bit by the quality of the load. I think it's not really that convincing, and I wish it was a bit easier to get them out of there, and you know, you could change it for some proper gravel and that would really improve things. But that's a small gripe, because the rest of the model is absolutely fantastic. There's so much detail on here, and it's really finely moulded as well. The finish could be better in places. Like I said, the masking isn't 100%, but overall these are small things compared to what you get here. I think these would stack up against modern wagons produced by any of the large manufacturers these days. I think these make great second-hand purchases. This set cost me £22 for the two, which I think is a great price, and they're certainly very colourful and very interesting. They're definitely a much better proposition than the Fala ones, so if you're after these OHU hopper wagons, then you can't go wrong with these Roco ones. But that's just what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'd love to know your thoughts. And if you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. It really helps his channel. And thanks for doing that. I'll put one of these on the turntable so you can see all the way around. And an icon will appear quite soon, and then you can click on that for another video that's just like this one. But thanks for watching this one. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one.
So model trains, model worlds, choo-choo, model trains, in tiny worlds, choo-choo, so model trains, tiny trains, model worlds, choo-choo, model trains, in tiny worlds, choo-choo.